Have you ever opened the fridge, pulled out leftovers from last night, and tossed them into the microwave without thinking twice? It's something millions of us do, every single day. But here's a quiet truth that often goes unnoticed: some of those reheated meals could be silently putting your health at risk. Not just an upset stomach. We're talking about potential links to cancer, cognitive decline, and long-term damage that builds up, meal by meal. In today's video, we're diving into 5 common foods that health experts and nutritionists strongly warn against reheating, not because of trendy health myths, but because real science shows how dangerous they can become once heated a second time. And here's the part that might surprise you. These aren't exotic or ultra-processed foods. In fact, many of them are often found in so-called healthy diets. But under the heat of your microwave or stovetop, certain chemical structures inside them begin to transform, forming compounds that studies have linked to serious conditions like inflammation, gut issues, and even neurodegenerative diseases like dementia. Now, before we go any further, we're not here to scare you. Our goal is simple: to protect you. To help you make smarter, safer choices in your kitchen. Because sometimes, all it takes is adjusting a few daily habits to dramatically improve your long-term well-being. So if you've ever reheated lunch, saved dinner for the next day, or meal prepped for the week, this video might just be more important than you think. And trust me, by the time we get to the end, you won't just know which 5 foods to never reheat. You'll understand exactly why, based on proven medical research. Not guesswork. Not internet rumors. You'll leave this video with knowledge that could protect not only yourself, but the people you care about most, starting with your very next meal. If you find this kind of content valuable, take a moment to give this video a thumbs up. Share it with a friend or family member who needs to hear this. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell, so you never miss another life-saving tip. Let's begin. Sign number 1, spinach, the silent danger hiding in your soup bowl. Let's begin with a food that almost everyone thinks is healthy. It's green. It's packed with nutrients. It shows up in everything from morning omelets to hearty soups and dinner stews. Yes, we're talking about spinach. But here's what most people don't realize: reheating cooked spinach, especially in the microwave or at high heat, can quietly transform it from a superfood into a silent threat. You see, spinach is naturally rich in nitrates, and in their natural form, those nitrates are perfectly safe. In fact, they're actually beneficial for circulation and blood pressure. But the moment you reheat spinach, especially if it's been sitting in the fridge overnight, something subtle, yet dangerous, begins to happen. The heat can cause nitrates to break down into nitrites, and nitrites can convert into nitrosamines, chemical compounds that have been directly linked to cancer and neurological harm in numerous medical studies. It's not a change you can see, smell, or taste. But over time, the consequences can be serious, especially for older adults. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to toxins. Something that may have once passed harmlessly through our systems at age 30, now has the potential to damage brain tissue, slow cellular repair, and quietly affect our long-term health. Imagine this. You make a big batch of veggie soup on Sunday night. You stir in some fresh spinach for that extra boost of vitamins. On Monday, you reheat a bowl for lunch. No big deal, right? But that reheated spinach, once a source of natural nitrates, may now contain unstable compounds your body was never meant to process repeatedly. And if this habit becomes routine over months or years, those silent shifts can start to add up, influencing your body in ways you may not feel right away. Now, this isn't fear-mongering. This is awareness. Because the truth is, when you understand how small kitchen habits affect your long-term health, you begin to take back control. So here's the better choice. Eat spinach fresh. Or enjoy it cold. But avoid reheating it, especially more than once. Your body, your brain, and your future self will quietly thank you for this one small change. These risks often go unnoticed, not because they're unimportant, but because their impact builds slowly, without symptoms at first. But as we grow older, we learn that what we eat matters, and just as importantly, so does how we prepare it. Reheating spinach might seem like a minor decision. But over time, it might just be one of the small things quietly working against your health. If this surprised you, don't keep it to yourself. Tap the like button. Share this with someone you care about. And subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, because sign number 2 may involve a breakfast food you probably ate this week. Sign number 2, potatoes, the comfort food with a hidden risk when reheated. Next up is one of the most comforting, familiar foods on our tables, the humble potato. Mashed, baked, boiled, or roasted potatoes are a symbol of warmth and nourishment. But there's something many people don't know: when cooked potatoes are cooled and then reheated, something changes inside them. And that change isn't always for the better. When potatoes are cooked the first time, their starches soften, making them easier to digest. But once cooled, those starches begin to recrystallize into what scientists call resistant starch. Now, resistant starch on its own isn't necessarily bad. In its natural form, it can actually support digestion and help regulate blood sugar. But the concern begins when those cooled potatoes are reheated, especially in the microwave or at high temperatures. Here's why. In conditions where heat is uneven or when oxygen levels are low, like with foil-wrapped baked potatoes, certain bacteria such as Clostridium botulinum can thrive. And when that happens, the risks become far more serious. You might not see it. You won't smell it. But that doesn't mean it's not there. Consuming improperly reheated potatoes can lead to digestive distress and, in more extreme cases, exposure to neurotoxins. And what's even more troubling is how this can affect your body as a whole. As we grow older, our digestive systems become more sensitive. Our immune responses slow down. And our brains, already vulnerable to inflammation, can suffer when harmful bacteria disrupt the balance of gut microbiota. More and more medical studies are drawing a strong connection between gut health and cognitive function. In fact, prolonged gut inflammation has been linked to higher risks of Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. Now, does that mean you should never eat potatoes again? Absolutely not. But it does mean we have to be smarter about how we treat them. The safest approach? Eat them freshly cooked, whenever possible. If you must store them, keep them in airtight containers, never in foil, and reheat them thoroughly and evenly, preferably on the stove where you can control the temperature. Avoid reheating them more than once. And if something feels off, it's better to toss it out than to take a risk. Your health is far too valuable to gamble on leftovers. Especially when the foods we take for granted might quietly work against us if handled carelessly. Potatoes may look harmless, and when they're fresh, they are. But how we treat leftovers matters more than we think. And for older adults trying to protect memory, energy, and long-term vitality, even the simplest habits are worth rethinking. If you're still watching this video and found this information helpful, leave the number 2 in the comments to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do it now and tap the notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Your support helps us continue sharing valuable knowledge that empowers and inspires. Let's keep going. Sign number 3, eggs, a morning staple that can quietly turn harmful when reheated. Let's talk about one of the most beloved and versatile ingredients in the American kitchen, the egg. Scrambled, hard-boiled, sunny-side-up eggs are quick, affordable, and packed with protein. But if you've ever reheated leftover eggs from a previous meal, thinking it was a smart and healthy choice, it might be time to reconsider. Because reheating eggs, especially in the microwave or under high heat, can quietly turn a nourishing breakfast into something that may do more harm than good. Here's why. When eggs are cooked for the first time, the proteins inside them undergo a natural process called denaturation. This simply means the protein chains unfold and reorganize into a structure that your body can easily digest. But when those cooked proteins are exposed to heat a second time, especially uneven or excessive heat, their structure changes again. And this time, it's not so friendly to your system. Reheating eggs can lead to the breakdown of sulfur compounds and the formation of oxidized cholesterol. Both of these have been linked in medical studies to increased inflammation and, over time, a higher risk of cardiovascular problems. And when you consider that inflammation is also a major factor in memory issues, cognitive decline, and even dementia, suddenly, this harmless habit of microwaving yesterday's eggs becomes something worth thinking twice about. Imagine this. You hard-boil a few eggs on Sunday for easy breakfasts throughout the week. By Tuesday, you pop one in the microwave for 30 seconds before eating. On the outside, it looks harmless. But on the inside, chemical reactions are taking place, proteins are getting tougher, cholesterol is breaking down in unnatural ways, and the flavor might even shift to something slightly rubbery or sulfuric. But more concerning than texture or taste is what's happening at the microscopic level, things you can't see, smell, or taste. Older adults are particularly vulnerable to these changes. As we age, our bodies handle fats differently. Arterial walls may stiffen. The brain becomes more sensitive to chronic inflammation. And that means small dietary decisions, like repeatedly reheating eggs, can quietly affect our long-term health. This isn't about fear. It's about prevention. And the earlier you understand the risk, the easier it is to avoid it. Now, does that mean you should give up eggs entirely? Absolutely not. Eggs remain one of the most nutrient-dense, brain-supportive foods we can eat as long as they're consumed fresh. So here's what matters. Enjoy eggs right after cooking, whenever possible. If you meal prep, consider eating them cold or mixing them into salads without reheating. And if eggs have been sitting in the fridge too long or show any signs of spoilage, don't take chances. Be cautious. The little choices we make, what we reheat, how we store leftovers, and when we choose to eat cold, can make a big difference over time. Especially with foods like eggs, where the risks aren't obvious, but the consequences can quietly build. You deserve to feel energized, mentally clear, and strong every single day. And sometimes, that starts with something as simple as how you handle breakfast. Sign number 4, chicken, a protein powerhouse that can turn against you when reheated. Chicken is often seen as one of the safest, cleanest protein choices out there. Lean, affordable, and easy to cook, it's a staple in countless meal plans. Many of us cook it in batches, saving some for tomorrow's lunch or dinner. But here's something you might not know. Reheating cooked chicken, especially in the microwave or under high heat, can quietly change the way your body processes it. And over time, that change can lead to more than just a bit of indigestion. It can contribute to low-grade inflammation, digestive strain, and potentially even long-term health concerns. When you cook chicken the first time, the protein structures shift in a way that makes them easier for your body to digest. But when you reheat it, especially unevenly or at very high temperatures, those proteins transform again. This time, they become tougher, more rigid, and harder for your body to break down. Now consider this, as we age, our digestive systems naturally slow down. That means foods that once felt easy to digest might now leave us feeling bloated, sluggish, or unsettled, and we may not even realize why. But digestion isn't the only concern here. Inflammation is the real story. Medical studies have shown that reheated chicken proteins, once broken down in the body, can release compounds that trigger low-level inflammation. And that's where things start to matter more. Today, we understand that inflammation isn't just about joint pain or sore muscles. It's now recognized as a contributing factor in heart disease, cognitive decline, and even neurodegenerative conditions like Alzheimer's and dementia. So the issue isn't chicken itself, it's how we handle it. Picture this. You roast some chicken breasts on Sunday, store the leftovers, and by Tuesday you microwave a piece for a quick lunch. It saves time. Seems convenient. But what you don't see is that reheated chicken may now have a slightly rubbery texture and a flavor that's just off. That texture shift reflects deeper changes in the food, changes your body has to work harder to manage. This doesn't just stress your gut. It can also influence your immune system and even your brain. And that's especially important for older adults, people already navigating arthritis, blood pressure issues, or brain fog. When your body stays in a low-grade inflammatory state, everything gets just a little harder. Energy dips. Focus fades. Mood shifts more easily. Avoiding something as simple as reheating chicken won't fix everything, but it's one small way to ease the burden on your system and support better long-term health. Here's the bottom line. The way we prepare food matters. And while it might seem like a small thing, choosing not to reheat certain proteins, like chicken, can help reduce silent stressors on your body. Stressors that build quietly, day by day, until one day they're no longer easy to ignore. When we're younger, we can get away with more. But with age, being more mindful becomes a powerful form of self-respect. Your body has served you for decades. Now it deserves a little more care in return. If you're still watching and found this helpful, leave the number 4 in the comments to let me know you're with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to do it. Hit that button and tap the notification bell so you won't miss what's coming next. Let's keep going. Sign number 5, mushrooms, a delicate superfood that loses balance when reheated. Mushrooms are often praised for their earthy flavor, rich texture, and surprising health benefits. They're packed with antioxidants, fiber, and immune-boosting compounds. Whether sautéed in an omelette, simmered in soup, or served as a side dish, mushrooms absolutely deserve a place in your dinner routine. But here's what many people don't realize: mushrooms are one of the most sensitive foods when it comes to reheating. And that sensitivity doesn't just affect flavor. It may alter the chemistry inside your body in ways you wouldn't expect. Mushrooms are unique. Unlike many vegetables, they're made up of complex proteins and enzymes that begin to break down shortly after being cooked. When you reheat them, especially more than once, their protein structure can degrade into compounds that are harder for your digestive system to handle. This breakdown can lead to bloating, heaviness, or digestive discomfort after eating. And for older adults, whose metabolism and enzyme levels have naturally shifted with age, these effects can feel even more pronounced. But it doesn't stop there. When mushrooms are stored improperly or reheated unevenly, like in a microwave, the proteins and fats within them can oxidize, forming harmful byproducts. Some of these compounds have been linked to increased oxidative stress in the body. And as you may already know, oxidative stress is one of the major drivers of cellular damage, chronic inflammation, and age-related decline, including memory problems and cognitive disorders. Here's a simple example. Let's say you make a hearty mushroom stew for dinner. It's warm, flavorful, and comforting. The next day, you reheat a bowl in the microwave, and notice the taste isn't quite the same. Maybe it's rubbery. Maybe the flavor is dull or even a little off. What you're tasting isn't just leftovers. It's the result of protein degradation and chemical changes. What was once nourishing has now changed, and your body has to work harder to process what's left. Even the texture tells a story. Freshly cooked mushrooms are juicy, tender, and rich with flavor. Reheated mushrooms, though, often turn rubbery, slimy, or mushy, all signs that the original integrity of the food has been lost, and with it, many of its benefits. Here's something even more important. There's a pattern hidden in all of this. Many older adults experience bloating, gas, or digestive issues without realizing that something as simple as reheated food could be part of the cause. Digestion begins with food quality and how that food is handled after cooking. When your body is constantly exposed to altered proteins, even in small amounts, the cumulative effect can be fatigue, inflammation, and increased vulnerability to disease. It's not just one bad meal. It's the wear and tear that adds up over time. That's why mushrooms, as nutritious as they are, should be treated with care. If you cook them, try to eat them the same day. If you must store them, use an airtight glass container in the fridge and reheat gently on the stove, not in the microwave. Or better yet, eat them cold if the dish allows. A chilled mushroom salad with olive oil and herbs can be just as delicious and far safer for your digestion and long-term health. In the end, small choices compound. Avoiding the reheating of mushrooms may seem like a tiny shift, but for your body, especially as it ages, it's one less burden to carry. And the moment you begin to identify these quiet sources of strain in your daily routine, you give yourself the chance to feel lighter, clearer, and more alive. As we come to the close of this video, I want to invite you to take a quiet moment and reflect on the 5 foods we explored together today. Which one surprised you the most? Was there something you've been reheating for years, without ever knowing the risks? And more importantly, how will this new awareness shape the way you handle leftovers from now on? This isn't about fearing food. It's about giving you tools. Simple, practical tools to help you make better decisions, choices that support your health in a real, lasting way. Because the truth is, your body has been showing up for you, working tirelessly, day after day, year after year. And it deserves your care. It deserves your respect. And often, the biggest improvements don't come from sweeping changes. They come from small adjustments. Like choosing not to reheat that bowl of spinach. Or taking a few seconds to ask yourself how long those mashed potatoes have been sitting in the fridge. Thank you for being here with us today. I would truly love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell me. What's one thing you learned from this video? And how will you apply it in your own kitchen? Your thoughts matter to us. Reading your comments gives us energy, motivation, and a deeper connection with this community. So please don't hesitate to share. And if you found this video helpful, if something here made you pause or think differently, tap that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone you care about. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful, high-quality content that informs, inspires, and empowers. Thank you for watching, and I truly hope to see you again in the next video.